Hello and welcome. Now for the whole of 2020, I'm attempting a no-buy / low-buy. Now this is going to be a 6 months recap, a sort of celebration, if you will, of the fact that I've reached halfway through my challenge. Now, I know it's technically August and the July update is already on my channel. However, we're just going to be looking from January to June. I've gone back and watched all my previous monthly updates and collected all the data and information. I've compiled it into a very professional bullet journal spread, so we'll be sort of talking through this. And yeah, I thought it was really important to take a moment to look back, and it's very hard to know the progress you're making when you're kind of in something and doing it. It's not until you either finish something that you can see how much things have changed or how much you've achieved, or if you just take a moment to step back, which is what I'm going to try and do with this little video and yeah, by creating this spread. So I really wanted to share it with you, obviously, because you've been a part of this journey, and I really appreciate if you have been watching these updates consistently or inconsistently, if you've been giving the videos thumbs up or commenting down below. It really helps, and it also just makes this feel more than about me in some way, because a lot of people do share that they find it inspiring and encouraging, and that inspires me and encourages me to keep going. And I just really appreciate this community that has come about and come around, yeah, my channel in general, but also specifically this challenge. So thank you. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the information. We're gonna do it sort of in the way that I'd usually do my monthly updates, as in we'll go through all the things and the products and stuff like that at the beginning, and then we'll talk about the money and the finance towards the end. So I went through, I added it all up, I made a little chart, I'm very proud. And so the first area is all the products I've used up. So I've used up a total of 23 products over the last 6 months, which for me is quite good because I do prefer to use things quite sparingly. So I was pretty proud of that figure, and that's one of the things I have loved about doing this challenge, is using what I already have. And because of that, I've been able to minimize my toiletry collection and sort of cosmetics and things like that down to quite a small amount. It's also been applying to some of my stationery as well, so I really enjoyed that. The next is hand-me-downs. So I received things from friends who were decluttering, or like I asked to take it because they were going to get rid of it anyway, and I thought I could use those items. So I took a total of 16 items, or received a total of 16 hand-me-downs. In terms of gifts, I was given a total of 8 gifts over the last 6 months, which is really nice because, you know, thanks to all the people who gave me those things. Now, the main figure that I'm obviously going to be paying attention to, that is obviously a reflection of how good or less good I am doing this challenge, is the total number of items I have purchased with my own money is 42 items. So that did sound like quite a lot to me when I first looked at that, and I was like, oh, you know, like I could definitely do a lot better. However, before doing this challenge, I had gone through and counted all the new things I'd purchased in my home for the last year and a half leading up to it, because I felt like I'd really slipped off the bandwagon in terms of trying to live along the lines of my more minimalist principles and minimalist shopping habits, as well as trying to be more sustainable and conscious with the things that I do buy. So I went through, I counted all the things. So for a year and a half, I got to a figure around 282 new items I had purchased and brought into my life. Now keep in mind that figure isn't including consumables like toiletries, so it actually would probably be quite a lot higher. But regardless, I was like, a year and a half, that's 3 6-month periods. And so what's my average for 6 months is I purchased around 94 items before doing this challenge. So to get to 42, to be able to more than half it, is really quite a positive thing, and I'm very happy with that. So yeah, I thought I would bring that comparison because that does sort of reflect more of how well or how much progress has been made from doing this challenge. Now, I also wanted to look back at that video and remember the 3 main things that I kind of wanted to go into this challenge with. The first was flexibility, because I have done no spend years, I have done tight budgets, I have done cash clip systems. I've always been saving. Every single year on my channel since I started YouTube, I've done some kind of saving thing where I really focus on the finances. And what I've noticed the most is sort of the amount of guilt and sort of negative mindset that can come up when you don't allow for flexibility, because often we are changeable people. Things change, things are different, our needs change, and so flexibility was something I really wanted to incorporate into this challenge. The next was to avoid the guilt mentality, because I have definitely done this a lot in the past, is focus on the little mistakes I make or the little setbacks I have, and then just get really guilty and have a negative dialogue with myself because of it. And another main point is I really wanted to focus on the progress rather than the setbacks. So those three things, I guess, have been my guiding principles whilst doing this challenge, not just to be trying to consume less and to save money and all that kind of stuff, but it's also to follow and work with those things so that I can find the right balance for me. So let's get into the categories that I first set out with the intention to be sort of no-buy categories. Now, clothing, first one. I did purchase a total of 7 items, 2 swimmers, 1 dress, and 4 cardigans, and maybe regret 1 pair of swimmers, but everything else very, very happy with. The next is decor, bedding, homeware, furniture. So these were all categories unto themselves, but I did purchase a total of 0 items in all those categories, so very happy with that. Big success. The next is kitchenware. I did buy a total of 5 items. This was when I started getting into baking, and yeah, I really wanted to get a few different items to be able to go along with that hobby. Now, looking back at it now, there's about 3 items that I do regret purchasing because I just haven't used one of them, which I've already donated. The second I haven't used as much as I thought I would, and the third I could have probably borrowed one or gotten it from someone else. So yeah, there is 3 items I do regret there, but it was more of a low buy in that category. Same with clothing. It kind of came into more of a low buy scenario rather than a no buy. In terms of appliances, I purchased one hand mixer for the baking, and I've loved that mixer. It's amazing. It makes baking so much more easier. The next is books. I have very much succeeded in this category. I've purchased no hard physical books. I've borrowed from other people and I've read what I already have. I'm sure we all have that little pile of books of that we want to read and that we just never get around to reading because we'll go and buy a new one and we'll start that and we'll never finish that one. But this time I did really well. I have been reading what I already have, and that has been really awesome as well. I did, however, purchase 2 ebooks because it was relevant for what I wanted to know more about, what was going on in the world at the time, what is relevant now as well, and I couldn't find the books in any other way, so I did decide to purchase some ebooks. Although I do regret getting ebooks, I should have gotten physical hard books because then I could have given them to other people and they could have gotten the information as well. That's one thing my biggest downfall with ebooks is the lack of communal sharing that can happen when it comes to them. The next is jewelry, accessories, bags, and purses. 0. I purchased none of these things, so that has been a great success. The next was shoes. I feel like I really succeeded here. I did purchase 1 pair, but they were work boots and they were quite essential, so that has been really awesome. Trinkets and souvenirs, there hasn't really been the temptation because we haven't been able to travel, so I have purchased 0 of those items. Stationery. This is a big problem area for me, but I feel like I've had great success over the last 6 months as I've only purchased 3 items that were all essential or have been used quite a lot. So the first is a ream of paper. The next was a little pack of clips to organize my taxes and my tax receipts. And the third was a notebook for my studies. So that's pretty impressive for me considering how much of a stationery addict I've been pretty much since the age of, want to say 7 or 8. The next is cosmetics. I have only really purchased 1 cosmetic item, which was in January. It was the eyeshadow palette, and then I also did buy 2 brushes to go along with it, so maybe technically 3, but very happy with those purchases and do not regret any of it. The next is craft supplies. I purchased a total of 8 balls of yarn, and this is where I do have a bit of regret because I did panic buy 3 balls of yarn that I haven't used since purchasing them, and then the other 5 balls of yarn I have turned into a lovely warm hat for my dad, and I'm making one for my mum and also for myself, so those have all been good. The next category I didn't really put in at the beginning of my no buy low buy, but I thought I would mention it, which was pleasure products. I did purchase 3 of them and I do not regret any of those purchases. They have served me very, very well. So in terms of 42 items, I only really regret definitely 6 of them and possibly a 7th. So yeah, I don't know, I think that's really, really positive to not feel that way. I mean, there's some other items that I purchased that don't fall into any of those categories, but everything that I've gotten has really been, except for the 6-ish, 7, has been really intentional, has been used, or has been essential in some way, and or if not, has really served me and has been a bit more of a treat item, but have gotten a lot of use and love out of, so that's really great. So let's talk about the next area. That's all the figures for the things, but let's talk about the other figures that are also very important, which is the money. So I'm gonna be looking down to read all my figures, I'm really sorry, but I have made a total of $45,710.55 for the year. I've spent a total of $13,572.63. That means I have a grand savings of $32,137.92. Now, just before we celebrate how much savings I have made, which is awesome, is I have to be very clear in regards to every time I talk about my income, I always talk about it as my gross income. I'm self-employed, so it is my responsibility to take out tax, and I also do have business expenses, whether it's my lunches I've had when I've been out, or it's been like my work shoes and things like that. So I've never talked about it in terms of those things have already been taken out of the amount that I make. So if you look back over the last 6 months, every time I've told you how much I made for the month, take about $1,000 off, and that is actually what my take-home income is. So if I have $32,000 that I've totally saved, I actually do need to take about $7,000 away to pay taxes, just like everyone else, to support the community of people that I live with, and to, yeah, especially the fact in Australia you have like access to free healthcare is very, very awesome and important. So, you know, taxes are essential, we all have to participate in it. So basically, if I take 7,000 away from my 32,000, it gives me a grand total of around $25,000 saved over the last 6 months, which is awesome and super incredible. When it comes to money, obviously it's all relative, and it's all relative to what your personal income is. So how much you're able to save on a challenge like this is dependent on your personal circumstances. We're all going to have very different essentials in terms of how much rent costs and groceries and all the different things that we definitely need and we can't live without, as it were. And then it's up to us to work with those extra areas, whether it's like clothing we're buying or eating out with friends or like subscriptions and different things like that. That's where you get to cut and make clear choices to be able to save more money. But obviously it's all relative, and I'm very fortunate that I have a good paying job. A part of it being so well paid is that I actually don't really have any job security. I'm very much casual, I'm self-employed, and if someone is to cancel a shift with me, I just lose that money straight up. I don't get any compensation for it, so that is also why I do get paid quite well. Now, $13,572.63 is how much I've spent over the last 6 months. So let's analyze it and break it all down. The first is gas. I've spent a total of $1,326.81. It's essential, it's how I get to work, it's how you survive in sort of a rural Australian area. There's not very good public transport here. We have car maintenance, which is also an essential to get the car on the road, to get it registered, and I also had to do new tires this year. Total of $1,277.87. My groceries cost me a total of $1,372.24. I thought it was quite interesting that both my car and myself consume about the same amount of fuel, as it were, to survive and keep going. So yeah, it's about exactly the same price. The next is eating out with friends. This is a luxury category. It is an essential, but I spent a total of $759.73. And it's a kind of really an important category for me, because yeah, I really get a lot of value and joy out of spending time and eating out, and I'm a huge foodie, so I really don't regret any of that money. Maybe a little bit, but most of it, no. The next is things. I spent a total of $1,402.09. I bought a couple of bigger ticket items like the pleasure products, my boots, and a couple of items like that. In general, things just add up, you know, if you're not paying attention, it just all quickly adds up. $20 here, $30 here, $50 here, it all adds up. So yeah, I don't really know what to say about that figure. It is what it is. The next is my pussycat. She cost me a total of $231.47. She's priceless, so I wouldn't care how much money I had to spend on her. The next was bills, $3,980. I back paid rent to October of 2019. I only pay like $100 a week anyway. It's just sort of like a contribution so that I'm not completely freeloading off my mum. And then my other bills include my internet and also my phone bill. The next was gifts. I spent a total of $1,951.88. $1,000 for an amp for my little sister. I donated $500 and then like just bought things here and there. I think it's always so important, if you can, if you have that flexibility, to have charity or just being supportive of other people as part of your budget. You shouldn't compromise there if you can. And even if you can't give financially, you can give your time, you can give your energy, you can be a support to someone. And I think that's always a really important part for me, especially when it comes to my money or my budget or whatever it is, not to compromise in that area. The next was $191 on laser. I got 6 sessions laser hair removal at the beginning of the year, and then I had a few add-ons throughout the rest of the year. Eating out with my client / I forgot to bring my lunch to work. I spent a total of $270. The next is my computer, $575 because it broke, and then I upgraded a few things in it. The next was miscellaneous, $234.54. That was all the things that didn't fall into any of those main categories. Haircut, postage, I had to buy face masks and gloves because of the pandemic, and like some transport or something random. So yeah, I have just read to you everything that is in my beautiful bullet journal spread. I hope that you have enjoyed this update. If you would like to share with me how you're doing in the comments below, any thoughts, any questions, anything at all, I love hearing from you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you next time. Bye!